Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Galactic Ambition, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast, part of the Maindeck podcast family. I'm Dan.
And I'm Jason, and boy, oh boy, we have an episode for you.
Is that...
That's all I've got. No,
That's the
I'm
lead
really
in?
excited. I'm really excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. I'm really excited to talk about, obviously spoiler season and all that. It's the most wonderful time of the every few months or so and everything like that.
I'm really excited that you're not dead again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention too. Like, getting really, really sick is bad. Obviously, COVID still is a thing, and I had to deal with that for a few days, and that was really bad.
I'm sorry.
Really bad. Probably the worst I think I've had it. So that was not great. So make sure, I'm a big advocate of making sure you're protecting yourself and staying safe. So I made sure I did that, and now I'm back among the living, although I'm still struggling to get my energy back. But I also blame that on my sedentary lifestyle and age. But, I could just blame the other thing instead.
No, blame the other thing. That's way more fun.
Yeah. But we're back. I'm back. Most importantly, I'm really excited to get back to work on talking about these spoilers today. That's obviously a little, taking the lead there. It's their spoiler chat. But also we have a really cool event we're going to share with everybody.
Yeah, I am so excited about this. We've been putting this together actually since Gen Con. We've been working on the back end, trying to logistically figure everything out. But as we mentioned on Galactic Ambition previously, our group had a pretty good run getting convention exclusives. And we ultimately decided among our group, one of these exclusives we wanted to put up as a prize for a tournament for you guys. So we announced just yesterday, as of the posting this podcast, the Sith Skirmish. It is a webcam event, and you'll see if you're watching the video, the graphics on the screen right now, but this is a webcam tournament that Maindeck is hosting, sponsored by our sponsor, J-Dub Sports Cards and Gaming as well, who is doing things like taking entry fees and providing, sort of the back end sort of finance handling of everything, which is really appreciated. And this is going to be taking place Sunday, October 6th at 9 a.m. Central is the start time. So we can, kind of get it cracked on without you having a really late day, hopefully. Jason, we're really, really pumped about this event because not only are we hosting this webcam event, we have a tournament organizer, head judge locked in. We're going to be running it on the main deck Discord. Hopefully a nice, clean, professionally run webcam event, the best we can. But you and I, Jason, are planning on casting the entire event, live streaming the entire event from 9 a.m. until finals is completed, and not just doing the thing where we are going to, commentate on a match and then go on a 40-minute break or whatever. Right. We are planning on commentating matches and then filling in between those breaks with additional Star Wars Limited content for you guys. So, Jason, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on our Sith Skirmish that we put together?
I think it's a really exciting undertaking. I remember when we were walking to get, I think, dinner on the last day that we were at Gen Con, or it was lunch. We were all about to leave. I think we went to that pierogi, or was it calzone place?
The calzone place.
That place was really good, by the way. Anyway,
it was.
Then it's like, what if we just just kind of did this, and it all started to come together pretty quick. So if you were as unlucky as I was actually at Gen Con or at these other events to not get one, or you couldn't make it, it's going to be a really exciting way to have a chance to earn that for yourself, get some really good games in, and hopefully for those who do not end up playing, have a really nice afternoon of some really great content. I'm hard at work at ideas to fill that time. That is kind of a daunting thing to think about on the back end. It's like, man, we have to find things to talk about and things to keep everybody engaged. But I think our goal with this is we don't want that kind of thanks for watching, come back in 30 minutes ticker the whole way across. We want to have it kind of just be like something to keep people engaged, to keep ourselves engaged, because that is a long day for us too, and to keep it exciting for everybody. And I think what's the most exciting part about this for me is that we shored up, at least from when I saw that, this is an open tournament. So it's not just US, right?
Exactly.
Right. So if you're an international viewer or someone who's interested, you should definitely check this out too. I clicked the the ticket link, which is actually a really good idea for you guys to check it out if you have more questions about it, because it kind of talked about the etiquette for the webcam tournament, which I think is important to understand too. But yeah, I'm really excited for the event itself.
Yeah, we are really, guys, like, just honestly, we're putting a lot of effort and building into this thing. We're trying to do the best job we can, providing a great event to play in and also a great stream to watch throughout the day. So if you're at all inclined, we would really appreciate if you want to play in the event. Again, it's a $10 entry fee. You're guaranteed to get 2 C3OP Shadows packs shipped to you for that $10 entry. Which is, at least it's a nice bonus thing that you're able to get if you don't end up getting it's just a first place prize currently for the convention exclusive set. Now we do have scaling built in. So at the point where we start to get enough people, we're also going to be scaling the event up and adding on booster packs of Shadows of the Galaxy for our top cut players and everything. But that's we just hope that a lot of people find it a really fun event. Hope it feels like it's a good experience for you guys, and I hope if you just want to stick at home and sit down and watch us, I hope you enjoy the stream. So please consider tuning in. We'll probably mention it every episode of Galactic Ambition, until we actually host the event.
Yeah, it'll be all over social media until people get tired of it, I'm sure, as well. But I'm really excited, and I'm really excited just to see people there playing and engaging and having a great afternoon of Star Wars Unlimited content, and somebody winning the kit that I couldn't get myself. That's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, we Jason is a little bitter, but we're still happy that we're able to give one out to you guys. So, so that's going to be that. Hope you guys do tune in for that. And please let me know if you have any questions. Links to everything you need to know will be in the description of the videos as well, down below. All right. So, Jason, with that out of the way, Shadows of the Galaxy is going to be heading out the door pretty soon, kind of soon. In a little while.
In a bit.
In November.
Yeah, it's still here for a bit.
But we have now started spoiler season for Twilight of the Republic in earnest. In fact, we got to host our first spoiler at the beginning of the week. We posted our little spoiler of a little guy known as Captain Typho with the cool eye patch.
Cool eye patch, yeah.
Yep. Which is really fun. But what we want to do in our episode today is just kind of do just a little roundup, a little review of some of what we think are a lot of the like harder hitting cards, the ones where when you see they just spoiled this, you had to pull up your phone and check, right? So we're going to give kind of our thoughts on some of that stuff. Hopefully not taking a super long time, but we do have a chunk of cards that we do want to talk about. But do you think we're ready to move on here, Jason, or am I forgetting anything?
We could talk about how they could support us and, main deck itself.
Of course. Was that too obvious? Sorry. Okay. Guys, if you do enjoy Galactic Ambition, if you enjoy our Star Wars Limited content, any of the content we produce here on Main Deck, of course, there are a few ways you can support the channel. You can leave a like, you can leave a comment, you can make sure you're subscribed. You can join us for the Sith Skirmish on October 6th and tune in for the live stream or even play in the event. That's another way to support us too. I'll throw it in there as well. Or you can always also shop for your Star Wars Limited single cards on tcgplayer.com, but use our affiliate link instead, bit.ly/shoptcgs. That's bit.ly/shoptcgs, and get yourself a good old market price and a little kickback towards us, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you all so much for all the ways that you do support us. All right, so I plugged Sith Skirmish one more time.
Good job.
Maybe I'll do it again at the end of the video.
You might. We'll see. We'll see how you feel.
But until then, let's go back, Jason. Let's go back in time. Sure. The year 2000 something. When did Phantom Menace come out again? 2001?
Yes.
2001? 2001, 2004, 2007. I think that was the three.
So I remember
1, 2, and 3.
Watching it in middle school at after school care in 8th grade. So that would be 2000. It lines up. It would be like a home release by then. I think it lines up. Sure.
Maybe.
I could
something
look
like
on
that.
the internet, but I think I'd rather use my memories of a time long past instead.
Yeah, we have access to infinite information, but
But why use that when we
let's
could
just
just
guess.
guess? It's more,
Well, okay. Let's go back in time to whatever era the prequel trilogy is released in, and let's talk about Twilight of the Republic and some of the spoilers that we've gotten so far. We're going to be talking about a number of the leaders that have been spoiled today. We're going to talk about the new rare bases. Those are so cool. Those are interesting to talk about. I think we'll have some interesting opinions on those. And we're going to talk about just a smattering of your main deck TM cards that you may be including in some of your cool builds that show off some just interesting new mechanics and directions of the set. Jason, I'm counting on you now, buddy. Lead the way. What are we talking about?
So I guess we could start with the leaders, as we've already talked about, how we've seen so many cool leaders in the past few days and stuff like that. And I think the one that I'm most excited for, I think like most everybody, is Maul right now.
Oh.
I think he's I think he's just kind of nasty. So we go ahead and just have that conversation real quick. I just need my internet to catch up with me because I don't have. There we go.
There we
go.
I
have them all open on each tab, and I'm so afraid I'll misquote a card. And they're like, "Wow, he was so wrong and terrible and a waste of content." And you know what?
The internet wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. The internet definitely really enjoys all this content. Anyway, so Maul got spoiled, and Maul was in aggression, which was not too super surprising. I think everyone was kind of pegged him for an aggression leader.
Yeah, he's red.
Is that how that works for this game?
Yeah, sure.
I kind of want to look at most of the cards now and be like, all right, is this color key on that card? And then anyway, so Maul is a Force Underworld aggression villainy leader. It says action, attack with a unit. It gains overwhelm for this attack. So, sure, sounds great. Giving something overwhelm, sure, we like that. We like getting an attack off on probably one of our beefier guys, even one of our little guys that are swinging into something that may have a little bit of hit points left, something like that. Nothing super flashy. Does what it's on the tin. Great.
I think it's one of those abilities that is just good. It's
just good.
It is.
I don't know
every
how
stage
many
of the
points
game
where it's going to be bad.
Every stage of the game, you'll find a use for this. It'll be like it's just giving something overwhelm for the turn, and that's like, yep, that's going to be useful. But especially late in the game, that's the thing that I like about Maul compared to Moff Gideon, who is a leader that I really like, but is just a little more specific as to when his abilities are the most applicable and useful. Whereas Maul just kind of goes, he doesn't have Gideon's like ability to push those thresholds in the early game, but in the late game, it's like, you better not play anything small or it's not going to actually protect you.
Right. Yeah. You just are you're cruising for a bruising, as the kids say. And the big thing too with Moff Gideon too, it's like, yeah, you get to flip a turn earlier, but he's so much more narrow. His stats aren't all that great. If you can unlock the buff on to make his attack worthwhile, then that's fine. For the 3 drops and stuff, but like you said, it kind of just starts to taper off, whereas Maul doesn't have that. Then Maul gets to flip at 6 for 6/6 with overwhelm that just says, give each other friendly unit control overwhelm. Each friendly unit gains overwhelm. What a line of text that is. Not only that, we're getting a pretty decent rate for 6 as well. I was worried when my friends were talking about this card because I didn't see it, that I was going to see this deploy at 7.
6 is
like sight unseen. I was like, this card probably deploys at 7.
Yeah, 6 feels very aggressive, very efficient.
It feels like it's going to be an impactful part of the game. They have to deal with it, or it having overwhelm itself, giving each other unit overwhelm. It demands an answer very quickly if your opponent's threatening enough of a board, especially with a lot of the color combinations you can play with this card. There's obviously going to be some really chunky kind of like command aggression decks. I could already see like some cunning versions with this to kind of get some really nasty turns out of this card.
The thing that really initially, I approached this card And like I do in a lot of card games, I use my previous experience with card games to try to analyze things and figure out, is this good? Is this bad? How does it compare to what I'm used to in other card games? So the immediate comparison that you can make to this is a simple card in Magic that just gives all your creatures trample or something. But that comparison is so not apt for this game.
Right.
It's amazing how wrong that is, even though those two cards basically say the exact same thing. Star Wars Unlimited is built very differently, where there's a huge attacker's advantage in Star Wars Unlimited. Magic is known very well to be a game with the defender's advantage. It is it's to the point where there's the meme of I'm just going to attack with everything and let you figure out the math. Math is for defenders, right?
Yep.
Math is for blockers.
Math is for blockers.
Yep. That's a meme about it. And in Star Wars Unlimited, math is for attackers. Greatly for attackers. Because you are able to choose what units you're attacking. So something that gives everything trample just says, well, if you don't want to block this, then don't, and then it didn't do anything, which, don't get me wrong, is a benefit, obviously. But in this game, I can just freely go, hey, cool dude, huge dude you have, I don't really care. I'm just going to attack your small thing, kill it, and trample 5 damage over. You can attack their base anyway, right? That's the kind of the difference. It's like you can already always do that. But now, when you play that Vader, and that Vader puts out that clutch Dark Trooper 3/3 Sentinel, like, yes, I'm blocked. Like, no, you're not. You're gonna take the damage now. Still, I love this Maul because Maul says there's going to be a stage of the game. It's a lot like the aggressive heroism decks having for a cause in them inherently. That's just part of the deck because it gives you the reach to close the game. Maul's leader just says, yeah, I even not on the leader side, on the unit side, or even not on the unit side, on the leader side, eventually you will run out of things to stop me, and I will push damage through on every attack.
Yeah, and it can't be understated. You kind of made that point that people like to sometimes, like you said, that clutch Vader hit, we're like, oh, so it's cell blocker, we're good for another turn. It's like you don't have that benefit anymore, and you don't have that benefit in any arena. That's the thing too. He's going to say everybody. So that's another thing. Some people sometimes feel like they're safe in one, like, oh, I don't have to worry about this in another arena. It's like, no, the overwhelm being basically treating all of your guys as removal / and burn at the same time, if you want to think of it that way, is super sick. And it's something that I think aggression may have needed kind of as a cake topper, like just to kind of push that extra bit through, kind of like you said, like for a cause, like just, but on a little bit more of maybe a mid-range scale.
Yeah. I am super excited about this Maul. I think this Maul is going to be very good. I think there's no doubt that this is going to be a deck that is very playable. It's not keyword locked into anything weird. It is a raw, powerful effect. It's going to be one of those effects where you're going to feel the difference, not necessarily on a turn-by-turn basis, but you're going to get to a stage of the game where if you're the opponent playing against this, the Maul deck has just dealt a little too much extra damage to you incrementally throughout the whole game. And you're like, I can't close the game fast enough. I think that's going to be a pretty common feeling.
Yeah, I agree. It's just going to be a race that feels unwinnable, and the longer you let this card kind of exist and do its thing, it just feels like it's when Maul is deployed, you need to have the answer within that turn or possibly the next turn, or it just spirals. And then even then, Maul still gets value when he gets destroyed and back down to his normal form. I mean, there's just, it's never bad to have this card.
Right. I think the unit's great, but I think the unit is going to die right away. I think unit's I don't think if the unit lasts for more than a turn, you basically won the game, I think.
Right.
But I still think just having that on the leader, it's not that common that you need to overwhelm a bunch of things to close the game. It's usually just like, I need my one big thing to attack into your one small sentinel. And that's enough.
And that's it. Yeah. Really exciting card.
What is next, Jason? I think we're both big fans of Maul. I think we both expect to see a lot of Maul.
Yeah, that was pretty easy to talk about. I think we need to talk about the good guys for a minute.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's talk about the good guys. Let's talk about Obi-Wan real quick.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about this, actually.
Me too. That's probably what I was most excited about until I saw Maul. And then I'm still thinking I'm pretty hyped for this card. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a heroism vigilance leader with Force Jedi Republic tags that says action, heal 1 damage from a unit.
Sure. Action, exhaust him.
Yeah, tap.
That's an important thing.
I should have said that. That's my fault. But yes, obviously it's not just do it. That would be pretty good. that would be good. Not a card. And then he deploys at 6. We get ourselves a 4/7 with Sentinel, which is pretty cool. And then on attack, we get to heal 1 damage from a unit. If we do, deal 1 damage to a different unit.
Let me begin by saying this is a good leader. Right out the gate. And I know I've seen different opinions online. I could be wrong. I'm always open to being wrong. You guys know. Jason and I, we're happy to be wrong about stuff.
We're often wrong.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm often wrong.
Maybe. They could be. But a leader with Sentinel is huge. I'm not even that into the specifics of the rest of the card. A leader with Sentinel is huge. A leader with Sentinel that also can self-heal and ping things?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. For for the first leader that has Sentinel, I was kind of like a while back I was saying, like, if we give a leader Sentinel, what does it do? Like, you can't just give it Sentinel, right? Like, I mean, you could. That kind of probably be pretty boring. Not too much, right? But it'd be cool. Like, it'd still be fine, be functional. This ability is super sick. There's so much things you could do with this deal 1 damage to a different unit too.
If you've played against Palpatine,
yeah,
you're aware of the value of this.
Yeah. I'm really excited, especially like with what we've seen so far, what we can cobble together with this leader. And I think maybe there'll be a couple more cards from this set that'll kind of make it a little more exciting to me. But at the very least, I think this ability is strong enough to keep it. Even if you were just to say this heals Obi-Wan for 1, like heal Obi-Wan Kenobi for 1 each turn, it's still pretty powerful. And if you even used it that way, it's fine. But there's so many other applications. Like, obviously pinging off shields is really cool. You can enable your grit units for some reason if you had those. I mean, there's so many different things, like we were talking about Wookiees and stuff with grit and stuff like that at the shop the other day. It's just really cool to think about.
I think like any on attack trigger on a leader, it is something that sometimes happens, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's important to really be thinking about the fact that your opponent is always against you and is always actively going to try to remove the thing. And in fact, Obi-Wan says, you have to attack me first, right? So like, that said, a 4/7 is a solid stat line at 6, even at 6. It's really solid at 5, but it's still good at 6. Yeah. Boba Fett, but it's still solid at 6. Whether or not you get that on attack, though, I just can't stress that I like to play a lot of control style decks. I like to mess around in the vigilance color. I think I've quoted on this podcast as saying vigilance is my favorite color. So I played a lot of vigilance. It's a fun color to play. And I have surprised people more often than not with a little bit of cheeky protector on a leader flip turn. You flip the leader and then you put the protector on the leader, and then they go, wow, that thing's kind of big and really hard to deal with and is a sentinel and it's really obnoxious. So I know I already said it, but I can't stress enough that I think a leader having sentinel inherently is already a good thing. And tacked onto it, he has a built-in on attack that it has a healing factor to kind of like messing with your opponent's thresholds for killing him, or do to your other stuff. He's in a color that has a bunch of other healing things. Like, yes, I was indeed thinking about playing Rey turn 4, and then flipping Obi-Wan turn 5 to protect her,
Oh,
and then attacking with Rey to heal Obi-Wan. Like those are lines that are reasonable. And he's in traits. This I think this is important
yes.
too. The traits, the Force and Jedi traits, and we're going to see more from Republic too. These are traits that have a bunch of built-in support, but like in particular, like I don't have to deploy Protector on Obi-Wan. I can put a lightsaber on him, and I can make him a really obnoxious leader. And if you're not running Rivals Fall or something, this might be a big problem for you to deal with.
Yeah. And even on a surface level, like you said, just flipping this guy, your opponent, in most situations, likely has to chew 2 attacks through this guy to get to whatever unit they want. At least at that point in the game, it's usually like 2 attacks.
I think in I want to be really fair here, right? And
Sure.
I think in a lot of decks are including cards. Like for example, in our Kylo Ren list that we posted, we included Kylo Ren himself as a card to Energy Conversion Lab in to kill exactly this kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same turn that this flips. So to be fair, I think he will chew through one thing
Okay.
a lot of the time, and just one. But it's more about the fact that he is an additional guaranteed sentinel every game, in addition to your stack of other sentinels that you're already. It's not like you run them and go, I don't need sentinels. It's that your opponent has had to already chew through a bunch of them, and then you put another one in.
Right. Just really kind of grinds the game down, which people love to play against, and real sickos like to do it to other people.
Yeah, I am a real sicko.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But yeah, really exciting card. Really kind of looking forward to seeing what people like Dan do with this card. It's really cool, though. Like I said, I was kind of wondering what they would do for a Sentinel leader. I didn't think it would be Obi-Wan, but it's really cool that it is. So let's talk about another leader. One that I think has a very, I don't even want to use the word divisive opinion. Universally not great opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Let's talk about Padme Amidala. Naboo Republic official in Command Heroism. Action 1 and Exhaust. Search the top 3 cards. This is a coordinate. And the next 2 cards, by the way, that we want to stress, are going to talk about our new keywords and how they're utilizing them, whether for good or for bad. Obviously, coordinate, action 1 and Exhaust. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. You put the other ones at the bottom of your deck in a random order. For those who may still not be aware of what coordinate is, you only can use a coordinate ability when you control 3 or more units. Out the gate, I do not like this ability at all. I don't like that it's a conditional ability that cost me something. Like if it was just coordinate exhaust, I'd probably be okay with it. But coordinate 1 exhaust feels like, unless we're like missing the boat on this entirely, and there's something that's gonna, like, we're slowly seeing more stuff that kind of synergize well with the coordinate strategy, but enough to really make this that great. I don't
know. Yeah. So I will say that, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Padme as a character.
Yeah.
And I am a bit disappointed in this leader. On the outset, I hope to be wrong.
Me too. I really do.
I really hope to be wrong.
I don't like cards like this where it's like, man, this just, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this card in like the first 2 or 3, maybe first 3 turns of the game.
Yeah, because
I want to play stuff and progress, and I don't know.
Do you remember Cassian Andor?
Yeah.
He's a universally mid leader, and his ability is to tap him and pay 1 to draw a card if you've dealt at least 3 damage to your opponent this turn. So coordinate and being able to deal 3 damage to your opponent, I would say, are pretty similar abilities. The dealing damage might be easier.
I was going to say, I think it may be easier. Yeah.
Then again, I guess the coordinate you can do as your first action,
right.
If you don't need to do anything else first, but they both cost 1. Cassian just draws a random card, but it could be anything. So it's a random card for good or for bad, right? It doesn't have to be a Republic unit, but it also, you don't get any choice over what you get. Whereas Padme looks at 3 and picks a Republic card and reveal a draw it, which is really good for giving you choice of Republic cards if you find Republic cards. But the fact that this has the opportunity to fail, honestly, that's the thing that gets me the most on this card.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you go through the hoop of coordinate, you keep the 1 resource open, means you're playing down on the turn. You're not playing to curve, you're playing down in cost that turn. Exhaust is whatever. I mean, that's sure. Everything exhaust is a leader almost, right? But it's the coordinate. You pay 1, and then you hope to be able to get a card out of this. And it doesn't feel like it is going to be functional enough of the time to me.
Yeah, it's like, have we seen enough Republic cards? We're like, wow, I can't wait to dig and get one of these. I mean, there's been some decent stuff.
I would say, yeah, actually.
You think so? Like, there's a critical mass to a point? I'm not sure.
Okay, what I see is I see a concept of a critical mass. Can I do that meme? I really got Jason with that one. Excellent.
Yeah, that was good.
I see. No, but really, like, I see where they're going with it, right? Like, right. I see. What I see so far is enough good, like, filler units where when we get the juiciest stuff revealed also, then I think it'll feel like, I think you can have a Padme deck. And I think it's going to be packed full of, I think you're not going to be sacrificing anything on your units. And keep in mind, too,
the synergy will be there too, because a lot of these Republic units it looks like we're leaning into the coordinate strategy as well with some of this stuff.
Yep.
And I feel like, and in Command in particular, we already have some stuff. So it's like, there's already, like, the package is there.
Yeah.
It's just, is that enough? Like, well,
I think ultimately what it'll come down to is, if your deck could probably be fine, packed with Republic stuff and be good. But the question is Padme actually then going to be a better leader for you than Leia? Well, not Leia.
Yeah.
No, Leia's a bad example. Sorry.
Right. I was going to say,
not Leia, but like then Sabine, or then if you're trying to go wide, like Sabine might make sense. Or even, honestly, even then Cassian. Maybe you don't want to play red. Maybe this is for the green-blue Republic deck or green-yellow Republic deck. I don't know. I don't know.
But she does deploy at 5, which is not, bad. She's a 2/7 with Restore 1, and now instead of 1 in Exhaust, it's on attack. Search the top 3 cards for a Republic card and reveal it and draw it. So sure, deploying on 5 is perfectly reasonable. Restore 1 is reasonable. I have no problem with this as like a deployable leader. Like, I'm okay with our stat line. I'm okay with our ability here. Like, everything is fine here. I just, again, is it enough to be like, I'm going to choose Amidala as my leader over some other options? Not for me, not yet.
Yeah.
And hopefully there is. And I think the big thing that everyone's worried about with coordinate is like setting it up and then your opponent gets a chance to blow it out before you have a chance to trigger it. In most of these situations, it's going to be pretty obnoxious.
As we were saying, it's a game that favors the attacker.
Yeah.
The attacker has the ability to selectively disrupt what you're doing if they have access to the ability to do so. But they could choose that. And it makes coordinate really feel rough. Now, I hope that because Jason, you and I, we haven't play tested any yet. I'm going to be like transparent. We are Star Wars fans that focus on the a lot of the release stuff, and we really get in. Like, I think I'll probably force table a little bit once we get a little more of the card pool revealed.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for more cards. I have a big event next week that I'm traveling. You have an event you're traveling to for other stuff.
Yep.
So we have a lot going on still. But as more cards come, I'm really kind of excited to play around with some of this stuff. I do think I'm hoping somebody has a shelf for this. Like, it's funny because I played against Cassian last week. One of my buddies had it, and it was a really awesome list. And I think it's gotten better over time with a larger card pool. And this could be one of those cases too. We just need to, I still think we need to see more stuff to like give me the reason to want to play this leader over others.
My hope is just that coordinate, when you consider dividing between ground and space arenas and building towards it and using token based strategies, my hope is that it actually is easier to turn on than we are thinking it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that will be the case, but That's the hope.
Yeah. Like a lot of some of the stuff so far has been cantripping some stuff into play for coordinate abilities, like creating droids and creating troopers, which is cool. But I still don't know if it's enough just yet, or if those cards are even enough to want to bring in 2 dudes with it. But that's a whole other discussion, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Amidala. We got one more leader we want to talk about, and then we'll get into the bases real quick, and then we'll get into some of the fun stuff we want to talk about. So yeah, we need to talk about Count Dooku because I actually think his card's kind of nice. Count Dooku is a Force Separatist Sith in command and villainy with action exhaust. Play a Separatist card from your hand. It gains exploit 1. You may defeat a unit you control. If you do, it costs 2 less. That's exploit in a nutshell for each instance of exploit on the card. Already I like this more than the previous card.
Yeah, easily.
So exploit, again, losing a unit sounds scary until you realize it makes your card cost 2 less, and it probably has some defeat trigger you wanted to trigger, or something on board says when one of your guys are defeated. There's so much cool synergies and intricacies that they're exploring right now with this set, and that we'll probably see more of that will make this really neat. Yeah, it's narrow that it's a Separatist, and we've already started to see some cards. We haven't seen a ton with the Separatist tag yet, but I imagine we're going to start seeing more as well.
I mean, the Galactic Civil War, sorry, the Clone Wars was entirely, right, Separatists versus Republic. So those tags are going to get tons and tons and tons of stuff. But I think the big question I have is, will we have enough Separatists where there, because it's going to be rare for that extra 1 exploit. I don't know if we have the rules yet, but I believe it stacks with any other exploit they have. I believe if they have exploit 3 and exploit 1, it's going to count as if they had exploit 4. That's a kind of a guess.
Right.
So I think occasionally it might matter with the Separatists that already have exploit to give it an additional instance of exploit. But if that's how that does work. But the question is, will there be enough? But I think a lot of the time it's not going to matter, right? It's like if they have exploit 3, that's going to like already be plenty. So the question is, will there be enough Separatists that you want to exploit into play that don't already have exploit themselves and can't really benefit from having the additional copy of the exploit on there?
Right. We don't know with like its function, like is it going to be, like again, that critical mass, especially with the keyword on them themselves. But it already feels like there's more gameplay to it than the last leader we discussed, which really excited me more too. And if we're in the same, portion of the command color pie here.
I think one of the first considerations I have for this card is just that I think any cards, and historically this is true across a lot of TCGs, cards that cheat resources are intrinsically often more powerful than cards that don't. I mean, you look again back at Magic. What are the most broken cards in the game? The Power 9. What do half or more than half of them do? They're just cheap resource cheating cards, right? That's all they do. Right. But even later in Magic, they make Phyrexian mana, where you pay life instead of mana to get to play things for cheaper or for free occasionally. That's similar to this. Anytime they do things that allow you to cheat resources in many different card games, they end up being quite powerful. You just have to be able to build into them, and it looks pretty easy to build into, honestly.
Yeah, it really does.
We've seen in the card pool so far, things that create droids when they die, things that create a bunch of droids. Like I foresee cheating. We'll talk about a card a little later that was just recently spoiled. That is going to be, it looks to me like a linchpin of your Count Dooku strategy. It feels like it's going to be good.
Yeah. And then at 7 resources, Dooku's going to flip it to a 5/9 with Overwhelm, which was kind of cool to see. Mm-hmm. And then on attack, the next Separatist card you play gains exploit 3. That's a lot.
I think this is gross. I think this is gross.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like we've already kind of touched on, there are going to be plenty of cards that bring in a lot of droids. Like we don't know the We don't know which one of those are going to make the cut, but I already feel like there's enough cantripping or bringing in of droids and extra units, or just units in general, that will allow this exploit trigger to be pretty powerful. And not only that, like I would argue that this is a pretty decent stat line. 9 toughness is great.
Yeah.
And 5 power, not the highest for 7, but it's still fine. It's going to be able to run over some littler stuff or polish some stuff off in the later game.
I mean, it's a better stat line than Darth Vader has as a leader and as a unit, for what it's worth. That is not relevant.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is 7 for a 5/8. He has the on attack deal 2 damage, so he's like, he acts like a 7, a 7/8 with
he
like
punches up a little bit
first strike, but like still the stat line is they're higher numbers than Darth Vader, and then he has other stuff he does too. So, and he has overall. So yeah, I legit think Count Dooku has a lot of potential. I think he's definitely one of the first decks I want to build right now. He's one of the ones I'm most excited for.
Yeah, he's definitely really cool. I'm really excited to see what people do with him. And I think that wraps up all our leaders that we've want to talk about. We've talked about so many. I'm really excited to see what decks everyone builds and plays with them so I can steal them because I'm not creative at all. All right. Bases. We live on them. We need to defend them. Let's talk about them. First one, since we're in the theme, let's talk about the green base real quick. Yeah. So compared to our bases last time, our rare bases just decide, let's just have this hit points. Let's have this hit points. There's no uniformity, which is actually really cool this time on the hit points for the bases. So let's talk about the Droid Manufactory.
We could have used that in set 1.
Right? So how many hit points should Energy Conversion Lab have?
20? No, I don't know. Maybe that's too low.
That's actually a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, that would be an interesting discussion. Yeah, I don't actually know where I would land on with that, but
22.
Yeah, maybe
with 22.
Something like that. But yeah, okay. So 22. Droid Manufactory.
All right, Droid Manufactory. When you deploy your leader, get 2 battle droid tokens for 24 health.
Yeah. Mono green. Mono green. Let's go. Count Dooku, baby. We are going to flip Count Dooku out, put 2 droids out, and then next action, we're going to attack and exploit whatever droids. I don't care if you attack them. Whatever droids are left, we'll exploit them.
If you manage to wipe out the 2 I had, well, darn.
Yeah,
but the good thing is you used your turn to do that. If that's what you feel you had to do, that's great. For those who are not entirely sure when we say battle droid or clone trooper, understanding that they each have their own stat lines as they deploy. Battle droids are 1/1s. They're separatist droid troopers, just as for context. I think that is a little important. So I'm very excited for this card. It's going to be it's a different strategy than the ECL kind of stuff. And a lot of the stuff you can kind of pack, there's a card called Timely Intervention, which is like your very own ECL that you could save as a treat for later, So I think the Dooku decks, or even there's going to be other decks that like just even go wide strategies that are just like, yep, I'm going to deploy my leader. I'm going to get 2 more power across 2 units that I could buff, do other things with across the board. Like, I think this is just super strong.
IG-88.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's here. He's going to die to any removal anyway now, so who cares?
He still dies to everything.
Just do it. Cowards. No, but yeah. What is there? I don't think there's really anything. I feel like the hit points are right. I think 24 is good for an ability like this.
It's an interesting thing to discuss just because with the first batch in Spark, we were really able to kind of like look at each one and go, how can you make 5 life back from this? The ECL, it's like, well, you attack something that attacks for 5, and then there you go. You saved your 5 life. Yep. Good job. With Jeddah City, it was like, well, it's a little more complicated, but you're gonna -4 something, and then you're gonna attack into it. So you stopped it from dealing damage to you, and then you saved your thing. This is like stuff like that you would do to try and figure out where that comes from. With just making 2 battle droids for 6, it's hard to immediately see, I think, where that life value comes back. but I think I think that's good. I think we need to
Yeah.
move away from those direct, like obvious things and have this kind of like, yeah, but it's about synergy, right? It's about synergy.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of synergy with this card. This card's awesome. I'm really pumped for this card. I'm really excited to see what people do with it and what they do with their battle droids. And again, like you said, it is kind of hard to quantify how many hit points for each ability and stuff like that. But the fact that we're getting 2 power on 2 separate bodies that your opponent either deals with or lets you do whatever nefarious thing you're going to do with those 2 cards, whether it's exploit, whether it's some sort of go wide strategy. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that we've already kind of seen in the set and that we already have. It's just, I think it's a really solid and clean ability. It's really easy to kind of quantify and see what people are going to do with it without having to do the algebra people had to do it for Jeddah City.
Yeah, I agree. How about the algebra they have to do with Petranaki Arena?
How many points is that in Scrabble?
I don't know if it's accepted. I think it's a proper noun.
Okay. Well, Petranaki Arena is 26 hit points, and it's our cunning base. And it says each leader unit control gets +1/+0.
I'll just right away say I love that it says each leader, making it like, and also the same thing about the previous one. We didn't mention at all, but Twin Suns, these leaders are these bases are insane in Twin Suns. They're cracked. They're insane.
Yeah. Whenever you deploy a leader.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, this pumps your leader up by 1 at the cost of 4 health. Jason, we talk a lot about thresholds. Thresholds is like it's like our catchphrase in this.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Petranaki Arena?
I think it's fantastic. I truly like this card. Obviously, right away, the first deck that comes to mind is Yellow Sabine for me. That's the very first deck that comes to my mind. Yellow Sabine is already kind of filthy. This just kind of ups that clock a little bit quicker. And I don't think that you cared that you sacrificed 4 hit points for this. Like if you care about those 4 hit points, or you cared about, actually in some cases you gained a hit point. I don't think you even bat an eye at that. Your base, as Sabine in general, is a resource. The hit point thresholds, as long as you're not at 0, you're fine. So that extra push can be good. People are already talking about with Boba, which I think is just filthy, because why do we need to give anything for him? But that's okay. But
Yellow
that's a very
Boba,
real too.
Yellow Boba doesn't often need the extra health that the 30 health base gives him.
Yeah.
It has to be a very aggressive dex to really push him down there. But I think he will not hate clearing the 6 damage threshold instead of clearing the 5 damage threshold instead of only dealing 4.
Yeah. It's just again, the thing that I'm most excited for with these bases so far, it's just very clean, easy design to kind of see. It says what it does on the tin. You kind of just know what you're getting yourself into when you play this card. It's going to be it's going to fall into 1 of 2 categories: really aggressive slants, or looking for leaders that need that extra punch up, or that little bit like, I'm having trouble dealing with this specific card. What can really help me get there? Maybe this extra 1 power allow me to punch through cards at specific points and play points of the game.
Yeah.
Like your leader deploy turn in particular, I think.
Yeah, there's always so much like posturing that goes into sometimes, especially when 2 leaders are deploying on the same turn and you're trying to figure out how to get the upper hand in a conflict like that. Because Star Wars Unlimited is a game that is so about, it's got these turns where the entire game turns dependent on how that one turn flows through. So having that extra +1 can completely change and put in your favor the ability to do a sort of, if I flip first, then you can't flip anymore kind of exchange like that. I think it shouldn't be underestimated.
No, I agree. It's just, again, I think we're going to see this base and it's going to really upset people because it's going to put them on a faster clock, and they better deal with it, because I'm going to be one of those people.
Yeah. Yep.
That's definitely me. All right, that's our bases. That's what we got. We got 2 so far. We should see more soon. I'm really excited to see what we get for the aggression base in particular.
And I'm excited for the vigilance base.
So there we go. We're the odd couple. All right. So let's talk about some cards. Let's talk about some units, some tricks,
just a few,
and stuff like that. So let's talk about one of the legendaries that were spoiled. Ki-Adi-Mundi. I think that this is probably the most exciting of the coordinate units by far, and one of the best payoffs you can get by far. Ki-Adi-Mundi is a 5/7 Force Jedi Republic Vigilance card that says, coordinate. When your opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. So I'm gonna give this one to you, Mr. Vigilance.
Yeah. So like we said, coordinate cards, we haven't been particularly impressed with a lot of them so far. Ki-Adi-Mundi is the first one where it did turn my head a little bit. I think it's really interesting that he is not heroism. I think the fact that he's just mono vigilance is kind of cool and kind of cute and might find some interesting play across sides a little bit. But that does mean you can throw him into like a battle droid focused deck and have that coordinate, which might actually be easier to turn on in that deck sometimes. But yeah, when he's not turned on, the reason that I think Ki-Adi-Mundi is maybe kind of one to look at is when he's not turned on, he is still a 5/7 for 5.
Yeah.
Which is a totally reasonable stat line at that level.
And great tags too.
And has useful tags. Also, Kylo Ren and Ki-Adi-Mundi can go together pretty well.
Yeah.
I like that. The unit Kylo Ren who will buff Ki-Adi-Mundi into becoming an 8/8 when he attacks, which is really cool. The coordinate. When an opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. Drawing cards in Star Wars Unlimited is one of those kind of weird things where you may draw 2 cards in a lot of card games is busted. In Star Wars Limited, it is good.
It's good.
It is good. Like, I'm not saying it's bad.
No, not at all. And especially just on virtue of the card being on the table. You're not doing anything different or adding any action. Like, the big issue with card draw in this game is using an action to facilitate that card draw.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's enough of it's an interesting sort of dilemma ability where the opponent is probably going to just let you draw the cards if they have 2 things that they need to play.
Yeah.
Like they're going to still let you draw the cards. But also that's going to feel, I think, like enough of sort of a punishment as well, where it is going to put you ahead pretty quick if they decide to go, play 2 things. One thing I want to point out is that Darth Vader is a card that plays 2 cards.
Yeah.
You play Darth Vader and then he plays another one. Ewing Reinforcement is a card that plays 3, 4 technically, because it itself is a play and then it plays 3 more things. Often 3 more things. If you 2 or 3 more things. Sorry, whatever. Sure. It depends. It can play up to 3 more things, but there are a bunch of these things that you don't always think about that are going to create the opportunity to play multiple things. So really, to me, it's more about, can you get that coordinate set up reliably in the deck? And if you can, it does seem like a reasonable card to consider for your vigilance decks that can set that up. So I'm very interested in seeing where he goes. I think the art looks really cool too, despite Ki-Adi-Mundi being one of the dumbest looking Jedi on the planet.
No, it's a cool pose. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, he looks sick.
Composed and confident. That's really cool. Like for the sub name too. I like that.
Yeah, that hyperfoil is going to look nice.
Yeah, it's probably going to look really good. We could talk about the other blue legendary, but really quick, it costs 15 and it's not good. All right. Moving right along.
That was the invasion of Christophsis.
Yep. That's another Scrabble word, and absolutely no point in talking about that card.
We might revisit it in the future when we've seen a lot more Separatist stuff and just do a final, like, was this good? Currently, we're very low on it, but we'll see.
Extremely. All right. We talked about Ki-Adi-Mundi. We've got another unit to talk about. And I think it's probably the unit I'm most excited for is Rush Clovis. This card is super sweet. We got a cunning villainy unit, Separatist official 3/5 with raid 2 for 4 that says, on attack, if the defending player controls no ready resources, create a battle droid token. First of all, can I just say that ability it feels so cunning.
Yeah.
They nailed that. Like, it just feels so within the tricky kind of, mess with you kind of style. It's like, okay, well, they tapped out. I guess I just get to get a 1/1 on top of my 5/5 that's attacking you.
This card's insane. Actually, yeah. I think Rush Clovis is one of the better cards we've seen spoiled so far.
Yeah.
At his cost, He's great stats on the board. He's gonna do some work. He's gonna be awesome, and he's so punishing to
I
the
think
opponent.
I think what's super sick is like Dooku shells, like Dooku yellow shells are gonna like cheat this guy into play. They get the droid back. Like there's so much, and not only that, you cheated this guy into play, and you just got a 5/5, which is kind of insane. Or 5/5 on attacking, or 3/5 body for 2. Seems pretty good.
He's also an official, which does mean Emperor's Royal Guard can protect him and curves into him nicely if that's a line for you to consider.
Sure.
Which is kind of neat. But I think Dooku Yellow is definitely something I'm curious about with Rush. It seems like it could be. It seems like Rush could do a pretty good job of powering out your mid game pretty well.
Yeah, and he can also make that start a little earlier too off Dooku's ability. And not only that, this just in yellow decks that are touching yellow and villainy, this guy's awesome. Like he's just going to be a good card, right? Like he's just
no matter
be
what,
really good. I think he's just going to see play in kind of those aggressive lists, or even those like even mid range lists, but definitely aggressive lists are going to like this guy and jam it. But but this guy's like what, a banking clan guy. When I first read it, I was like, baking clan. I was like, what? That's way cooler.
He's in the Clone Wars. He's kind of he's a D-bag.
Oh, well, he seems like he's going to be a D-bag as well.
Yeah.
When we cast this guy, I definitely look to be playing this guy for sure. Don't really have a lot to say about him. He's just really awesome. He's going to be really good. Like, right? Like there's nothing really that could be added there. All right.
Sabine Wren.
Oh, that's right. All right, cool. So yeah, that's Rush Clovis. Really sweet card. Really excited to play that card. Now we're going to talk about a card Dan has been begging me to talk about this whole time. And he was threatening to stop the podcast if we didn't talk about it.
I was about to. It was about
to happen. End the whole thing. And we're going to talk about Sabine Wren. You can count on me. Sabine cost 4. She's in Cunning and Heroism, 4/4 Fringe Mandalorian Spectre. While this unit is exhausted, she can't be attacked unless she gains Sentinel. On attack, you may discard a card from your deck. If it doesn't share an aspect with your base, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. Why does this sound like something we might have heard of before?
This, first of all, I was just so excited to see Ahsoka era Sabine Wren in the set. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect that. And that's exciting. This Sabine is such a cool design because she's clearly got elements of the first Sabine unit in her. Like she's got a conditional ability to not be attacked, to avoid, detection or stealth around or whatever. However, I don't know how flavorly that works honestly with Sabine, but there it is. But what I got so excited about is this is sort of just being forced in as Hera support, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Spectre tag, and the on attack saying you discard a card from your deck if it doesn't share an aspect with your base. You get to deal 2 damage to any ground unit, which is Darth Vader's ability on her. Well, not even well, he does anything, but it's basically like having a little Darth Vader extra 2 damage there, which is really strong. And in your Hera deck, it shouldn't be too difficult to make that happen on a pretty regular basis, because you're going to have a bunch of cards that don't match your base or leader anyway, based on what specters you play. And then you're going to have a bunch of command cards in your Hera deck, probably because they're good.
Yeah, right.
And so hopefully you just build your deck where she hits a lot of the time, and you have yourself a good time. I'm excited. I love more Force Hera support. Let's go. I want more of it.
Hera fans, rise up. It's your time.
I am honestly so glad I bought my Hera showcase.
I'm really excited for you people.
Yes.
Because guys have had it a little tough waiting for some more stuff.
It's been tough.
But I think we got one more card we're talking about, right?
Yeah, one more card.
All right. So this is the card I wanted to talk about because it's not a unit, it's not a leader. It's a
we had 2 more cards.
We have 2?
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll talk about this one and then you can talk about the next one that I forgot. I'm going to talk about On Top of Things. It's a 2 resource cunning trick that gives your unit +2/+0 and attaches them. This is when played. Attached unit cannot be attacked this phase unless it has Sentinel. it kind of ties in well with Sabine because, that's what kind of Sabine does on the tin. Um, Making your aggressive units evasive to extra things is so key in this game when like so many ambush things and just nasties on the board, and you have like you kind of play this game like remember way back when, because you and I are both very athletic people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And growing up, we played like Kill the Carrier, or whoever had the football, you had to tackle them.
Oh yeah, I did that
I know you definitely did
every
that,
day.
but I was one of 12 kids, so we did that.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't have a TV to share with everybody, so we were outside beating each other up. But the big thing in that game is like people would hone in on one thing or one unit or something like that and jump for it. This kind of takes your threatening unit and kind of just gives a little bit of an extra power push, which is huge, and then kind of gives it a little bit of extra evasion, which is really nice. A lot of these aggressive decks sometimes play like a sentinel unit or two, like on the off chance that they'll play it to kind of be like, okay, stave off some damage and of course maybe protect my guy. Why do that? Like we have that now, but with a little bit of extra power push. I think that's really cool. It's just really, really neat card. I like the design.
I wasn't totally sold on this card. I'm still not sure I'm sold on it. I want to mention really quick that this was spoiled by El Valle del Jedi. Just wanted to shout him out there because it was their spoiler card, and that's really cool. All of the other ones we talked about so far were just official FFG spoilers.
Yes.
So shout out to El Valle del Jedi, another a nice Spanish language Star Wars Limited support channel, which is cool. So I wasn't 100% sold on this right away, and I still don't think I am. But I'm coming around a little bit. The reason that I wasn't sold on it is really the thought of, well, if you have the action to play this on your thing that hasn't attacked yet so that it can attack safely this turn, you could just attack with it instead. And then you didn't have to spend a card slot on this. Now it does get the +2 power, which is nice.
And you get to keep that. Mm-hmm. After that, like you get to keep that the whole way.
You get to keep it. It still is going to be vulnerable to stuff, so it still be the possibility you play on top of things and they go, cool, now I'll fell the dragon it, and you go, nice, and then you're sad. But the thing that maybe would start to turn this around for me a little bit is that you have the potential to go, okay, I'm going to on top of things my thing, and they go, oh no, I can't kill it this phase. And you're like, yeah, I'm winning. And then you attack with it and you get that +2 damage and you feel really good. And then your opponent is bad, right?
Oh.
And if your opponent goes, cool, now I'll do another thing. And then you go, nice, I take the initiative.
Yeah.
If you can take the initiative after on top of things in your thing, then you actually got another attack out of it that you weren't going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is where I feel it's justifiable over just playing good cards and attacking versus playing this and hoping to kind of live in the world where this all works out and stuff. But I just don't know how often that happens and how reasonable that is that your opponent's going to go, gosh, I sure don't want them to attack me with that thing I really wanted to kill this turn again. Well, I better play something and let them take the initiative. That's, it just depends. It depends a lot. It's very context dependent on the board state, on the game state, the decks at play, and how relevant the +2 is. Again, I like thresholds. I like making things do more damage. I just don't always like spending a single card to do that unless it's really objectively very good, like Surprise Strike.
Sure.
So I think jury's out for me on this one, but you did make me think about it more than I was going to. So cool. I like that.
Thinking's good. All right. You remember the last card we're talking about, so take it away.
I do remember the last card we're talking about because I hinted at it earlier. It was going to be a card that Count Dooku wants to play. It is Count Dooku's flagship himself, the Invisible Hand.
Oh, yeah, right.
Spoiled just as we're recording this today by Tower Number 9 as well. Shout out to Tower Number 9, another great content creator. The Invisible Hand is I think this card is insane because I've played Magic the Gathering before. And I too have played Mirror Battlesphere, which this card there's no one can convince me. It's impossible to convince me that this wasn't just someone on staff going, hey, we should make Mirror Battlesphere. And then them going, okay. And then put it on a card. There's one thing there's two minor differences in this. The cost is one more. And the on attack doesn't also pump it up by the amount of
Right.
friendly separatists exhausted. Otherwise, it's a 4/7. It's a 4/7 for 8 separatist vehicle capital ship with, when played, create 4 battle droid tokens. And then on attack, exhaust any number of friendly separatist units. Deal 1 damage to the defending player's base for each unit exhausted this way. It's Mirror Battlesphere. And Mirror Battlesphere was cracked. It was so good. It was a lethal card in Standard. It is a lethal card in Commander. It is a good card, and this is going in a leader who has affinity built in. He has exploit your stuff and play it for cheap.
And then you get a refund on that when you play this guy. So it's like, and then some. Usually, you'll end up with more than what you used, which is kind of wild.
I think this card is it's an easy finisher in Count Dooku. You're going to be slapping this thing in because you're going to go finisher. You mean my turn 5 play in space? Have fun.
Good luck. Yeah, this card is wild. It's also, I love this art on this card.
Yeah,
it's just blowing stuff up.
Yeah, it's dope
because that's what it's going to be doing.
Okay. I just have to say, I have to explain this a little deeper just to really instill how good I think this thing is. But you're going to do the thing. You're going to have 1 battle droid in play. That's all you need, or 1 of anything. You're going to sack it to play this on turn 5. It's going to make 4 battle droid tokens, and it's going to put a 4/7 in play. You're going to take the initiative, hopefully get to keep your battle droids, or again, it's like, okay, cool. Spend your action attacking my battle droid. If you're not Darth Maul, I don't care. If you're Darth Maul, please don't do that.
Don't. You're not allowed.
But whatever. That's going to happen. Your pass turn. It's going to go to you. Then you take initiative. Then on your turn, you're going to attack with Invisible Hand. You're going to commit those battle droids. You're going to deal 8 damage to the opponent. And then you're going to exploit those battle droids and put something else in play for cheaper. You can put another Invisible Hand in if you want, I guess. Not really a lot of point to doing that, but you can.
It's a style on your opponent.
Yeah, you can slowly increment a small number of battle droids by exploiting less than 4 to play Invisible Hand. I don't know. That doesn't work out as well. But I think it's really, really, really sweet. I think it's really good. And it's got a mini compression thing built in too, where what you're going to want to do with these exploit decks a lot of the time is attack with your battle droids and stuff first, and then exploit them to get the incremental extra value of getting the attacks in. But Invisible Hand compresses it all into 1 attack while it's out there. It's not just even the battle droids. Every friendly separatist unit, if you got a bunch of dinky 1 power separatist unit, you go, cool. That's all my 1 action now. And then I'm going to do a bunch more stuff and take the initiative.
It's such a nice card. It's probably what excites me the most about playing Dooku and messing around with this guy is this card. I think before this card, I was like, okay, he's still pretty cool. But this right here is just, like you said, Mirror Battlesphere is an insane magic card. And to kind of just almost copy paste it over into this game is kind of wild to think about. And I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yep. Really.
This is good stuff. I'm here for it. I'm happy about it. And it is a great way to cap off our first little spoiler review for Twilight of the Republic.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's still some really great cards that were spoiled by a lot of awesome content creators that we didn't touch on, but make sure you're checking all those out. We'll probably be back before we know it to talk about a brand new batch of them and all sorts of other stuff. But I think that's a nice little capstone on our day there. Feels like we're doing pretty good there with everything we just talked about. Except Battle of Christopher or whatever. I don't even know what to call that card. Binder fodder. That is going to wrap it up for another episode of Galactic Ambition, part of the Main Deck podcast family. If you enjoyed what you listened to or enjoyed what you do, make sure you leave us a review, like us, share us, comment below. If you want to play the invasion of Chrysanthemum, you
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum. Let us know. Tell us why. In particular, tell me why I'm wrong. If you're excited for the Sith Skirmish, let us know about that in the comments below.
Yes.
Because we're excited. If you have something you want us to talk about during the Sith Skirmish, I would love to hear that because we got a lot of stuff we have to make time to do and talk about. But thank you guys so much for listening. We're so excited that you tune in to check us out. Yeah, for Dan, I'm Jason. You guys be good to each other and have a good one. See you next time.
Bye.